Hello and welcome, my dear viewers, to Infamous Animation, where garbage comes to life. England has a pretty good track record when it comes to animated films. Hell, the majority of Rich Williams' masterpiece, The Thief and the Cobbler, was made in the UK. Several of their most famous features are well known for being surprisingly dark, mature, and inventive, and generally well remembered without hardly a black sheep among them. Found one. Today's movie is Freddie as F.R.O.7, a James Bond parody known as one of the worst reviewed and one of the lowest grossing animated films of all time, and to this day has yet to receive a DVD release. But how bad is this movie, really? Well, that's why we're here. We start off with a view of Paris with some pop music playing.
When you're being chased by dragons and your back's against the wall.
Wait. Play that again.
When you're being chased by dragons and your back's against the wall.
When you're being chased by dragons and your back is up against the wall. These are the first words out of this movie, and already there's nothing here to make sense of. During the song, we get a glimpse of our hero, driving in his sentient car that makes croaking sounds and farts out green hearts. Just run with it. We then transition to ancient France, or at least this movie's version of ancient France, where a magician king and his magician son, Frederick, mourn the loss of the queen, who died in a storm.
The sister of the king, Messina was her name, also had the power of magic, but hers, like the night, was black.
Are you trying to tell me that a woman who acts like this she-bitch has gone her whole life without raising concern? Really? But sometime later, during a horse ride, an oddly shaped cobra frightens the king and he falls to his death. Since Messina is given control of the throne as Frederick is not yet of age, she does the apparent deed and tries to kill him. Oh yeah, the cobra was her if it wasn't already obvious. She turns him into a frog, I assume to make him easier to catch, but it looks like she couldn't catch a cold even to save her life. She chases him underwater until...
Little ugly frog, one day I will catch up with you and destroy you like I did your father and your mother, and then I shall be all powerful. I shall rule the world.
So Messina hightails it out of there for no particular reason, while the creature that protected Frederick introduces herself.
Oh, charmed, I'm sure, to meet you, Freddie. My name's Nessie, by the way.
Nessie? The Loch Ness Monster? What the hell is she doing in France? But Nessie's tail got stuck in the commotion, and Frederick uses his Silver the Hedgehog powers to free her. Sadly, it's too stressful for him, and Nessie does the responsible thing by taking him miles away from his home and letting him fend for himself. What a nice girl. The last thing she gives him is a whistle to call her when he needs her help. So Frederick decides to call himself Freddie from now on, and ventures off in his new life when he finds... the very rough draft of Princess and the Frog. Years go by and Freddie enjoys his life well enough, but he begins to remember his previous life, and...
He grew, and he grew, and he grew, until he reached his adulthood.
Now that's a hell of a growth spurt.
And then he knew. He was not. I am not.
Sorry, buddy. You're French. You can't help it. His friends give him clothes from I don't know where, and he ventures off and apparently becomes an agent for the French government. You may have guessed by now that this movie doesn't make it a habit of explaining things. For example, why does he have a sentient car when no one else does? What happened to his kingdom without any successors? Why is Nessie out of Loch Ness? And how does a man-sized frog become an agent for the French government? None of these are particularly explained, but I do have a theory as to the last one. Hey, the new applicant should be here soon. Ah, oui, I believe I see him coming now. Oui, sacre bleu, he is a frog. Ah, I know, he is just like us, only better. Sign him up for a government position right away. Hey, if he is ever insolent, we could cook him up and eat him. Jerry Lewis! We then see an American tourist group in England gathering around Nelson's column when an unseen force whisks it away, followed closely by the disappearance of the Tower of London. Some American crows are baffled that one of their favorite English hangouts is now gone when...
Where's the bloody tower gone? Oh, am I dreaming?
I hope they haven't sold it, like they did the London Bridge. It's gone, it's gone, the bloody tower's gone. I tell you, it's gone.
Hey, Yankee Doodle came to town just to buy a pony. Instead, he brought his town with. Let's hope it's not a phony.
Well, what I always say is, help!
Why is it always crows? You'd think after a while they'd learn that black people really don't appreciate that. The next place to go is Buckingham Palace, and it's around this time that the British government has had quite enough of this shit, and the man leading the search is Brigadier G. Believe me, I wish. He's voiced by the late Sir Nigel Hawthorne, who I'm sure was enthralled to play a high-ranking government official whose running gag is constantly getting tangled up in telephone cords.
Hey, Daddy-O, the Tower of London's gone. What you gonna do about it, huh? Come on, tell me what you gonna do about it.
Bye, thanks for that. They are informed that St. Paul's Cathedral and Stonehenge just disappeared and are now all out of options.
I thought you said you had a plan, sir.
Yes. Only one hope remains. I've asked the French Secret Service to send me over their top man.
Now I've gotta admit, the only two amusing jokes in the movie appear in this scene.
Oh, this couldn't have come at a worse time. Just lost some of my best men. 003 in China, 005 in Russia, 007 in Hollywood.
F.R.O.7's just arrived in an incredible automobile.
Good. Show him in.
Yes, just to warn you though, he's a frog.
That's no way to talk about our loyal French allies.
No, sir, what I mean is he's green.
Nonsense. He's their most experienced man.
Thank you, you can resume being shit now.
F.R.O.7, sir.
But you're a frog.
Yes? And you are the head of the British Service Secret, and I understand you have a slight, what do you call it? Problem? Disappearing buildings.
Raise your hand if you think that guy's secretly evil. If you didn't raise your hand, you're a liar. The Brigadier leads Freddie down to the Quartermaster's lab, where he meets the martial arts expert named Daphne, but more commonly called Daffers, because I guess Daphne was too attractive a name.
I'm afraid I don't have very much use for gadgets, but I like the landing area.
Like I said, he's French, he can't help it. And because he's French, he gets away with it too, the bastard. Then they meet the weapons expert, a Scotsman named Scotty. Way to go, Britain. But despite his name, he has a kick-ass arsenal on his jacket and he looks ready for anything.
I'm afraid the only weapon I use is my thoughts. The powers of the mind will always overcome violence.
Ah, the MacGyver approach. Splendid.
Well, I don't have any concealed weapons.
Oh la la.
Madam, if you keep wearing clothes, they will always be concealed. But they get word that Canterbury Cathedral just vanished, and they head out to the Ascot racetracks to see if they can find any leads. As Freddie goes to make a bet, he is confronted by some thugs.
So, we have a message for you, F.R.O.7. And the message is... death!
Keep going. Freddie leaps out of sight, and the thugs report to their boss for further instructions. Their boss is named El Supremo. And look who's curled up around him. It's Messina. El Supremo tells his men that Big Ben is the next target, but he tells them loud enough for Freddie to hear it, and presumably everyone else in earshot. El Supremo tells his submarine commander to stand by for when he's ready to invade the British Isles, and then... Oh Lord, please don't let it be so.
Romania, I'm gonna rule your world.
Could somebody please tell me why the hell does Messina have an hourglass figure, or at least as hourglass as a cobra can get? And why does their organization consist of Tusken Raiders, Nazis without swastikas, and Klansmen? And why does the music sound like Duran Duran outsourced to the Disney Channel? Yeah, I'm done with this scene. Freddie takes Daffers and Scotty to Big Ben. However, Freddie told them that Windsor Castle was the target, because the Brigadier would want to fight them without knowing where their base is, and Freddie decided it would be best to let the three of them get captured and investigate. Dude, you're a team of 3 up against an organization strong enough to steal monuments. The least you could do is bring a couple extra soldiers. It turns out that El Supremo has a flying snake ship that uses some kind of tractor beam, and that's what's been taking the landmarks. The ship takes them to an island near Scotland and drops them off. El Supremo has them captured and indulges in his favorite pastime, laughing.
You?
El Supremo shows them the shrink ray that he uses to make the landmarks portable, as well as some sort of jewel that can extract the fighting spirit and energy from the lingering souls who died protecting these places. And apparently, by removing the life energy from such ancient figures, they in turn affect the timeline, so that it makes modern English citizens weak, sleepy, and easy to dominate. Look, that's as best as I can figure out, okay?
I wait for one more piece in my little jigsaw F.R.O.7. And then the conquest of Britain shall begin, and after Britain, the world! Of course!
Had to get that out of me somehow. El Supremo locks Freddie and Scotty in a cage and drops him into a monster pool. Why Freddie never uses his mental powers to break out is not explained, while Daffers is taken off to be indoctrinated. El Supremo lets out a wave of his stored power, and people all over Britain get a sudden case of narcolepsy. Things look dire for Fred and Scott when Freddie whistles for Nessie to come and help them. Yeah, remember her? They leave Scotty on the rocks while they go get help, but instead, Nessie brings him to her place to meet her family.
Beneath the ocean, we make big commotion beneath the ocean.
Edie? Wrong cartoon. This is just a wee song in your honor, Freddie.
What?
I'm such a shy girl. I'm such a shy girl. Until the lucky day I threw it all away. Come on, look alive. 'cause we're the giants of jive. We'll rock you in the cradle.
You're not. You're really not. We've gone from under the sea to under the shit. Why are you wasting time with Nessie? You've got a comrade to rescue. You've got a country to save. Get your lazy green ass back on land and do your job, you French whore! So finally, Nessie and her family sabotage El Supremo's submarine fleet by tying them up with seaweed. Just run with it. Freddie and Scotty knock out some guards and take their clothes and then free Daffers. And apparently the indoctrination process didn't work on her at all. Of course. They engage a bunch of troops who only fire their guns when they know they're going to miss in one of the worst fight scenes I've ever seen in an animated film. Hey, didn't you say you only use your mental powers or something? Why are you going hand to hand with these guys, you lying bastard? And you. Yeah, you. What happened to that jacket full of guns you had in the beginning? Why are you using a blackjack to knock them out? Continuity. It's for the weak. Freddie destroys the jewel, and the sleep ray disintegrates, but Freddie and company are knocked out. El Supremo tries to finish him off, but he finally starts using his Psychonauts powers, and they easily defeat the other flunkies. El Supremo threatens to destroy the monuments if he doesn't surrender.
Please, don't destroy it. The Queen of England would never forgive me. I surrender. I am prepared to die for it.
The time has come, F.R.O.7. The time has come for your departure.
Stop that laughing! You know what happens when you can't stop laughing?
You know, if you had stopped laughing, you would have noticed Daffers slipping behind you and using the shrink ray on you to trap you on Big Ben. Idiot. With Supremo down, they think the day is won, but of course Messina is still here.
Scotty, Daffers, stay out of this. It is a family affair.
You know, it's nice to see her actions haven't made you all angsty and emo, but still, this is the woman who killed your mother and father, turned you into a frog, ruined your kingdom, and is now trying to take over the world. A little more resentment would not go amiss. But it turns out Messina is just as incompetent as the rest of them, and tries to kill Freddie with multiple forms, all to no avail. She finally gets him into a python clutch, but apparently Freddie is strong enough to unravel her and throw her onto a flagpole. Again, where are his mental powers? Oh, and that being thrown against a flagpole thing? Yeah, that's enough to defeat her. So I guess Messina is the embodiment of the French surrender stereotype, and Freddie just lets her go. Idiot. They restore the monuments and they find out that shady British guy was a spy all along and lock him up. They get a call from the White House, and Freddie's excited for his new mission in America as our movie closes.
Is it just me, or was that the stupidest thing we've ever seen?
You bet your ass it was. Where do I begin? The story has virtually no cohesion. The characters are as one-dimensional and undeveloped as can be. The animation ranges from acceptably theatrical to Saturday morning quality in a blink of an eye. The sequences are poorly planned out and just as poorly executed. The dialogue is laden with bad puns, the songs are pointless and painful, the humor is not worth it, El Supremo comes right out of nowhere with no backstory whatsoever, and plot elements are constantly introduced and then forgotten. This is pretty much a textbook example on how you don't make an animated film. I feel really sorry for the stars they got to be in this movie, because I can't see any way that they wouldn't be embarrassed about it. It's rumored that writer-director John Akevsky created this movie based on stories he used to tell his son, and if that's true, he should be arrested for child abuse. When it was first brought here to the US, it received a different title, a few cuts, and changes to the Crow's dialogue to sound less racist, not to mention narration by James Earl Jones. So, this is one case where Americanizing may have actually improved the movie. This movie was so horribly unsuccessful that it ended production for a sequel and bankrupted the studio that funded it, and to this day it remains obscure to anyone not already in the know. For its faults, I will admit that it has a mostly original story, and maybe that's why it has the small cult following that it does, but for me, I only watched this once when it was first released here in '95, and I never looked back until now, and believe me, I regret that I did. But still, it's comforting to know that James Earl Jones will never do anything this bad ever again.
Are we an item girl? Quit playing. We're just friends. What are you saying? Said there's another, looked right in my eyes. My first love broke my heart for the first time. And I was like, baby, 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 oh. Like baby, 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 no. Like baby, 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 oh. I thought you'd always be mine, mine.
Thank you, James Earl Jones.
I don't know the...
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber.